All right, good morning. This is Rob Malone. You're listening to American Chevy 360, heard every Tuesday and Thursday on Blog Talk Radio at 9 a.m. Central Standard Time, and we are also streaming live on Justin.tv. Now, I am the Internet Sales Manager at Jim Glover Chevrolet, located in Tulsa, Oklahoma. And if you're in the market for a new Chevrolet, I invite you to give me an opportunity to earn your business. Give me a call directly at my office at 918-660-7469. Now, our show topic today is we're going to recap the Cobalt Tools 400 sprint car race on Sunday at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. But before we get into that, if you'd like to be a guest on our show today, you can call in. Our guest call-in number is 646-716-4965, or push the click to talk if you have a headset, and we'll put you on the air. And as always, our chat room is open. Now, like I said, I am the Internet Sales Manager at Jim Glover Chevrolet, and you can visit us on the web at jimgloverchevy.com, where you can see our complete new Chevrolet and our pre-owned car, trucks, or SUV inventory. Plus, you can get a value of your trade. Also, you can fill out a credit application and be pre-approved, and you can schedule an appointment with the service department and order parts online through our parts department. And you can chat live with one of our Internet Sales Managers here at the dealership from 8 a.m. to 9 p.m. Central Standard Time. All right, it's been a busy week here at the dealership. We had a big day Saturday, and we're looking forward to a big month. Chevrolet has challenged us and Mark Heights out of Norman, which is in the Oklahoma City area, challenged to see who is going to be number one for this month. So we're definitely not going to leave anything on the table. We're going to work extremely hard, like we always do, to get you into a new Chevrolet. So if you're looking for a new Chevrolet, whether it's a car, truck, or any of our SUVs, call me 918-660-7469, or visit us on the web at jimgloverchevy.com. Now, also, you can subscribe to American Chevy 360 on iTunes. Just go to the podcast directory and search American Chevy 360. Also, if you'd like to contact me, if you don't want to do it by phone, you can email me if you have any questions, if you have any comments about the shows, or if you have a show topic that you'd like for us to discuss. Feel free to email me at americanchevy360@gmail.com. All right, today we're going to talk about the Cobalt Tools 400. And just so I don't forget, we're in the process of trying to work it out to where Alan Tardif, he has raced on some of the NASCAR circuits in the last few years. We're trying to get Alan to call in live next week, and since we don't have a race this Sunday, we'll either have a live interview with Alan Tardif, or we'll just recap the first three races of the NASCAR season and we'll kind of grade a lot of the drivers and kind of see where they're at, where they're going, and kind of preview the next 2 or 3 races. So that's next Tuesday on American Chevy 360 at 9 a.m. Central Standard Time. Also, this Thursday, tune in. We're going to discuss the 2011 Chevrolet Avalanche, plus we'll have some new recalls. There's already some recalls that are out there, and this is Recall Central, so if you want to know about a recall, you'll hear about them here on American Chevy 360 on Thursday at 9 a.m. Central Standard Time. All right, this last week, the NASCAR Sprint Cup race was held at Las Vegas Motor Speedway, which is one of, I believe, 6 of the 1.5-mile D-shaped cookie cutter tracks that will host probably about close to 10 or 12, 10 or 11 of the races. Kentucky picked up is a new track that they'll be visiting on the Sprint Cup Series, as it takes one of Atlanta's races. Atlanta had always held 2 races during the year, but due to attendance, I think they cut that back to 1, and Kentucky picked that one up. Chicago will have a second race this year, so not Chicago, Kansas, and that is good news for the Midwest, as we really don't have a whole lot of tracks here in the Midwest. We have Texas, we have Kansas, and we have Chicago. So with Kansas picking up a second race, we're excited here in the Midwest about that opportunity to being able to go to a NASCAR race. And with that, that gives us 4 races actually from Tulsa area that we can actually go to within that we can get to the tracks within 4 hours. So we can usually make it, if it's a day race, we can make it a day trip. And so, like I said, we're really excited about that. But getting to the this last Sunday's race at Las Vegas, where Carl Edwards actually was, in my opinion, and in a lot of other people's opinions, and I think Carl to some degree would have to agree, was actually given the victory by Tony Stewart. Now, Tony Stewart had a penalty that he had to serve, and it just kind of really just made it very difficult for Tony to win the race. Now, Tony did finish second, but because he had to serve a drive-through penalty, actually I think he had an air wrench or had a wrench that he left his pit lane with, and that is a no-no in NASCAR. And if you leave the pit with a gas can wrench or lug nuts not tightened up, you do, of course the lug nuts tightened up, you have to come back in and tighten them up, but you do have to serve a pass-through penalty. And so that put Tony in a precarious position at the back of the pack on the lead lap. But it did force him to have to do some things that he normally wouldn't do, and Tony definitely had the most dominant car in the race, as he led the most laps in the race. But like we said, a mistake by in the pits by Tony Stewart's crew gave Carl Edwards the chance that he needed to put the frustration of the first two Sprint Cup races behind him. And Carl also had a very strong car. I didn't get to watch all of the races. I was helping my wife do some spring cleaning, but I did get to watch enough of it to see that when early in the race, Carl Edwards did have a very strong car and had actually led. I'm not really sure how many laps he led, but he did lead quite a few laps. But Tony Stewart did lead the most and picked up the bonus points for leading the laps. And I believe Carl Edwards picked up 47 out of the maximum 48 points that he could get. Tony Stewart picked up, I believe he would have gotten 44 for finishing second and for having the leading the most laps. But the victory was a really kind of salvaged something for Edwards, as his disappointment in finishing second in the Daytona 500, and then having his pole-winning car at Phoenix was taken out by an accident. So if it wasn't for the accident at Phoenix, Carl Edwards would probably be our points leader for coming out of Las Vegas. In fact, he probably would have been the points leader. In fact, he would have been the points leader coming out of Phoenix. So anyway, Edwards took the lead from Stewart during a cycle of pit stops late in the race, when Stewart had to take 4 tires, and this was on the last pit stop. Stewart took 4 tires. Edwards only had to take 2. Now the previous yellow, or I'm sorry, caution pit stops, Tony Stewart was able to take 2 tires, or took 2 tires, to help make up track position. Now, a lot of teams saw that, and on the last caution, when Stewart had to take 4 tires, some of the teams, like Edwards, was able to take 2, and that was the difference in the race. Now, Tony could not take just 2 because that would have meant that his left side tires would have gone through 2.5 cycles, and that was just was not possible to do, and he actually would have finished probably a lot worse than he did in the race. But Montoya finished 3rd, Ambrose was 4th, and Ryan Newman came in 5th, and rounding out the top 10 was Martin Truex, Denny Hamlin, Dale Earnhardt Jr., which finished 8th and had a great race. He started way back in the back, and he finished up in 8th. Dale didn't have a particularly real strong car. He did have a strong car, but he was able to just kind of, pick drivers off one at a time, and was able to methodically, through pit stops and whatever, was able to get a top 10 finish, and it is his second top 10 finish of the 3-race young NASCAR season. In fact, if it hadn't been for that tire, or that accident in the first green-white checker at Daytona, Dale Jr. would probably be in the top 5 in points. There's no doubt about it. In fact, he probably would be 3rd, which would be a great start. But he has climbed into the top 12 for the chase, and this early in the season, that's great. The thing he needs to do is keep that momentum, and hopefully with Steve Letarte, he'll be able to do that. So he just needs to be steady, and he just needs to be able to be consistent as he's running down the season. Some of the Carl Edwards, like I said, he was the winner of the race. It was his 19th victory in 232 NASCAR Sprint Cup Series races, and it is his first victory and top 10 finish in 2011. Of course, we've only had 3 races. His last win came at Homestead Speedway at the season finale of last year, and this is his second victory and 3rd top 10 finish in 7 races at Las Vegas. His previous win came in 2008. Now, Tony Stewart finished 2nd, posting his 8th top 10 finish at 13 races at Las Vegas, and this is one of 2 tracks that Tony has not won at, and Tony was very disappointed about his finish. You could tell in the post-race interview that Tony was very disgusted about his finish and asked how they lost that race. I'll tell you what, we only have about 15 minutes left in our show. This would be a great time to take a quick time out. But when we come back, we'll talk more about the Cobalt Tools 400 from Las Vegas Motor Speedway. This is Rob Malone. You're listening to American Chevy 360 on Blog Talk Radio. We'll be right back.